Ready to count, go for launch, say go or no go. OTC, go. EVC, you gotta go. Don't be ready. Minus 2. Ready to count, go for launch, say go or no go. OTC, go. EVC, you gotta go. Don't be ready. Minus 2.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another sort of audio discussion commentary stream that we're doing. Yeah, I didn't realize we were gonna be doing this, but at the same time, this has been something that a lot of people have been asking about for a while. Really? Yeah. Have you not kept up? I've had people like on a blue moon ask me about this, but I didn't realize they were asking you about this. Yeah, no. A lot of people are asking me specifically about this. Like a lot of your friends, some of your coworkers, like some of my friends, some of my coworkers, people I know, people you know, people from other dimensions that we know. I mean, I guess. So, oh, and can I do the bit? What bit? The screaming bit. Oh, I didn't realize you cared about that. No, I want to do the bit. We'll do the bit. So, well, anyhow, regardless, welcome to a little audio discussion we're calling music genres that we're not into and why. We were going to make it a little longer and call it music genres that we're quite not into and the reason why, but a wall wouldn't fit on the design that we did for the title card. So, and it's all part of do you do it like super loud or do you do it like normal? No, I do it like loud because the whole point is you're trying to get all that anger out. Oh yeah. So, anyhow, welcome to what we're calling Rage Week, where we get all of our anger out and frustrations and violent urges out, and get all those really passive, aggressive, very troubling, violent thoughts out in a healthy and creative way instead of bashing people's heads in with a car or a guitar or a chainsaw or a moped or a computer or a baseball bat or aluminum pipe or another car. So just because one car is not enough. Exactly. My God. So, a lot of people have asked us, Crash, Hanako, what kind of music are you all into? It's kind of hard to pinpoint. Like, what do you guys actually like? What do you guys dislike? Like, what are the things that you're not a big fan of? What are the things that you are actually a big fan of? What's some of the stuff you listen to? What's some of the stuff that you don't listen to? Why do you not like these things? So forth. And this one was kind of my idea to do. Yeah, this was actually your idea. So this was something that you wanted to do for a while. And I guess I figured as part of Rage Week, we could, talk about it. At least for like maybe, a good hour? Yeah, about a good hour, give or take. Probably a little less than that. Yeah. So, this is also a little different because, typically most streams that, he does or some of the stuff that I do or whatever, like, there's usually a lot of music, a lot of visuals, a lot of stuff like that, but we're experimenting and keeping things a little basic and simple. Yeah, just to kind of, see how things play out. Yeah. So think of this more as kind of like a podcast, if you will. Yeah. Think of this as kind of like a nice little podcast that you can listen to. So, but yeah, I would say if anything, put your feet up and take a listen. Take a listen. Why not? Get some snacks. Listen to us rant about music and the music industry and just dumb shit for a little bit. Yeah, why not? So, hang on one sec. So, there we go. Just had to respond to a message. No, you're good. So, where do we even start with this? I don't know where we start with this conversation. I know where to start. Okay. What are some of the genres that you don't listen to as often and why? Like, what is it about these genres that you don't like? For me, when it comes to music, like, some music, I don't like because for me, I care very much about the message behind a song. I care not necessarily about the lyrics themselves 24/7, but more I care about like what the overall like theme or underlying message or the sort of the like general consensus is of a song. So like I actually like pay attention to some of the lyrics and call it whatever you want with my ADHD brain, but like if it matches well with sort of the tone of the song and sort of like the vibe and the genre of the song, then I'll like it more. But if it sort of clashes, then I could still like the song for like how it sounds, but not for the message of the lyrics. But when you kind of mess up like all three, then I'll absolutely hate the song. Because I think a good example of this is when it comes to country music. And I've said this for years to a lot of my friends and to the general public, but I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of country. I feel like a lot of country music, while it can sound good when it wants to sound good, there are some country songs that I do listen to that I actually do like. A general majority of it is very one note with its message. It's very stereotyped. It's very like stereotypical with kind of the themes and underlining vibe of the genre. Yeah. And that's kind of my problem, is there's a lot of it that I feel like could be better, but just really isn't, because a lot of it falls under sort of these really darker, like depressing, really like borderline, like kind of upsetting themes. And you know, some of them aren't as depressing nowadays as country music was back then. So, like, there is happy country music. There is angry country music. There is more emotional depth to country music. Country music is supposed to be emotional. But I feel like a lot of country music is way too bleak. It's just way too distraught. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, like, you were going to poke fun of it during the stream. What was one of the things you were going to poke fun of? So, one of the things I would poke fun of is, I wish I had, like, someone that, you know, could play, like, some, like, country music in the background so I could illustrate my point better, but I always make the joke off camera and off stream, but I'll do it this once, where, like, a lot of country songs will start off with some kind of like, well, everything was fine and I was drinking beer. I was hanging out in the back of my truck. It was a beautiful sunny day and everything was fine. I was with the wife and kids and the dog was playing in the yard. But then suddenly tragedy. But then suddenly tragedy strikes, and now the dog is divorcing me for the wife, and now the kids are suing me for alimony, and the court system is putting me behind bars. And just like, really, like, again, very stereotypical, very jokey, very ha-ha funny, but like, there's a lot of country songs that start off with like divorce as a theme, or like a heartbreak as a theme, or like a marriage falling apart as a theme, or I don't know, alcoholism as a theme. Like, not every song has to be this tragic backstory. And that's why I don't like a lot of country, is because there's so much of that genre that sort of like, well, and it starts, and it has like a happy melody, like a theme to it, but it has these sort of messages of like, well, one fine day I was doing pretty good, and then all of a sudden the dog exploded, and then the wife and the kids exploded, and then the house also exploded, But then I drank a beer and I went to the bar, and then I met a pretty girl and she said, "Hey, how you doing?" So deadpan. And now everything was turning all right, 'cause I had a beer and a wife in the house, and everything was great. I start my life again. Everything is good. Oh, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. But then everything exploded once again, and now I can't live anymore. So now I'm anti-depressed and my doctor gave me... I can't keep doing this. That's awful. That was absolutely awful. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but like, well, a lot of country songs will start with like, you know, this long sort of stretch of like, well, and then they hold it for like a long time for no reason. So, but like, not all country songs are like this, but a large majority are. And it just bothers me because it's like, I get it, life is tragic, but I listen to music to get away from that tragedy sometimes, and it'd be nice to listen to country songs that give me hope, give me inspiration, give me like, you know, clairvoyance, give me something to look forward to. And before anyone starts saying anything, oh, why don't you just listen to like Christian rock or like Christian country? No, because then every single song is all about Jesus and God, and I love God and I love Jesus, but then I love America and I love God, and that's the only thing I can sing about is God and Jesus and a beer in my hand. So, stuff like that. What about you? Me? Yeah, what about you? Well, one genre that I'm not necessarily really into is... so, like, call me weird, but there's a certain level of, like, EDM music and like electronica music that I feel is just too distorted, too loud, too overstimulating for my taste. Okay, I could kind of get that. Like, some of it can sound good when it starts off with sort of like this slow intro and then it picks up more and more and it does like all these different things, right? And like it gets a little better and like, you know, it gets like, you know, a little less distorted, but then it drops a beat. Like that stuff's not bad, but when it just starts with the, you know, you know, like electronica, like static noises, it just gives me a headache. I get that. And no, Iron, that is not an actual song that I sang, for the love of God. I was poking fun. He's like, is that an actual song? Because to be honest, it was awful. It sounded like complete shit. Oh my, I could hear the... From Iron and Friends as we speak. Sorry, can you do that one more time? What? The aggressive typing? Yeah. Just hold up to the mic. Okay. So just the... Oh my God. I can't believe this shit. I can't believe Crash and Hotako are poking fun of my favorite music type. Eats cold a Hot Pocket. This pisses me off to no extent. Drinks can of Pepsi. I can't believe this. Me and my World of Legions fan league Gaia.com friends are gonna be very upset. Click. That last click. The last... I don't know. Just a... And send. No, but like, jokes aside. some EDM to me just, and specifically EDM and electronica, is there's some of it that just feels like static and noise. And to me, I don't fully understand how a lot of people could just listen to just noise. And I'm kind of the same way as you. Like, if I'm going to listen to a song or a genre, I want, like, a theme. I want lyrics. I want a message. I want an overall vibe to it. I'm fine with experimentation with certain things and mishmashing, like, different genres and things. But a lot of the electronica and EDM doesn't typically have a lot of lyrics. Now, newer stuff nowadays has gotten a lot better about this. Where, like, there's sort of a message of, like, trying to understand the unknown, trying to go out into the world for the first time by yourself, exploring different places, this sort of, like, spiritual ambiance kind of vibe. But a lot of that is, like, very, I want to say, like, faint and vague. I kind of get that. I mean, I listen to some EDM every now and then, and I actually do like some electronica too. But again, I like a lot of the stuff that's very, like, it's got a medium pace to it. And I think that's because it's just stimulating enough for my ADHD to be like, okay, this actually is keeping me, like, busy. This is keeping me distracted. This is something that I could actually, like, enjoy. So, like, a good example is, like, how I showed you, like, some of the Rocket League soundtracks in the past? Yes, I've listened to some of the songs on those soundtracks. So, like, stuff like that, I get it. Because it's got a slow entrance to it. It's got kind of, like, a slow vibe to it. And, it's not overwhelming. It's not overpowering. But, like, it's still kind of there. Yeah, it's still kind of there. But, it's not to the point where, you're overstimulated by it. And I think it's weird because as a chick like me who really likes heavy rock and, heavy guitars and, like, metal and punk music and punk rock, it's weird that I like music that's overstimulating, but a different kind of overstimulating. You like something that gets you energized and in that hyperactive mood. Whereas EDM, electronica, and even to some extent, like, synthwave, has this very sort of, like, eerie, like, sort of either slow or very distorted sort of, like, vibe and start to at the beginning. And that's kind of my point, too. Is just, I thought I would like it a lot, but it's taking a while for me to kind of get into it. So, I think that's the reason why, and I want to save this particular discussion for another day, but I'll briefly bring it up. I think that's the reason why I like a lot of, like, synthwave music recently, is because a lot of synthwave not only has a message behind it, has sort of that ambiance tone to it, and has these sort of, like, sci-fi, almost, like, very mystique vibes to it. But it's something that could be used in a lot of different mediums. So, like, a good example, some artists that I like are LeBrock, let's see, Time Cop 1983, New Arcades. I do like New Arcades. New Arcades is good. The Midnight especially is something that I turned you on to. I will admit, you did turn me on to the Midnight. Very much so. I did. So, but I like that kind of stuff. So, like, I mean, I don't, I guess here. So, like, I guess a good example of something that I'm talking about is, here. If you just simply type in like new arcades on like YouTube, like a lot of their recent stuff has this sort of like, yeah, it's still synthwave, but it's very like, you know, like eerie mystique synthwave. It's got a little EDM vibes to it, but it's not fully the vibe. Right, and I guess that makes sense, but just EDM and like electronica, I'm not too big into, if that makes any sense. No, I get it. You're that makes perfect sense. So, what about you? What's another one that you're not into? Oh, me? Yeah. Fuck. Okay. This is gonna sound really stupid. Uh-huh. I like rap, but I like old school rap. I don't like a lot of new school rap. I don't like a lot of newer rap. I feel like, and I can't really go into the full reason as to why, because even I'm still trying to kind of figure it out myself too. But like, I just feel like older rap with a lot of the messages and again sort of the general vibe of the songs and stuff has just a better like theme and message to it, whereas newer stuff just feels like a lot of the stuff they're talking about in newer rap is not for me. And the subject material is not something I'm necessarily interested in. Does that make sense? That makes sense. That's the, we'll call it the PG version of explaining it. But, like, I guess that makes sense. It's sort of how, like, I like some metal, and especially some thrash metal, but not all metal. Because, like, some rap talks about, you know, cultural differences, or they talk about, like, you know, issues with different races, different identities, different, you know, cultures. Some of it talks about financial gain, financial loss. Some of it talks about relationships. Some of it talks about all sorts of things. But some rap also, in the same way as country, talks a lot about, like, you know, alcoholism, depression, drugs, you know, slurs, and you know, a lot of racial slurs, and, you know, things that I don't think some people are either comfortable with, or they just feel like it's too much. Right. And that's the way you feel about, like, EDM and electronica is kind of how I feel about, like, some rap. And it's funny because there's actually some, like, modern rap artists that I actually really like. And, like, some artists that I thoroughly enjoy. So, but again, we're not talking about stuff we like. We're talking about the things that we're not into. Right. The stuff we actually enjoy would be a conversation for another day. So, yeah. Which I would like to do. Yeah, me too, so. But, like, I guess with rap music particularly, I feel like some of it's just a little overstimulating for me as well too, which I can fully admit to that 100%. But there's some rap artists that I also just feel like are either way too overrated, or they're just culturally, a lot of the things that they talk about and, endorse, I don't exactly approve of. Kind of how, like, the same way there's certain rock artists and certain, like, heavy metal artists that, even though I'll listen to some of their music, I don't fully endorse a lot of the things that they do and say, right. And look, the argument can be made about, oh, you can separate the art from the artist, and, like, I get that, but at the same time, too, it's like, sometimes it's harder to do that. Yeah. God, it's way too hot. Yeah, it is way too just bloody hot. I would say also, and this is going to be a weird one, but specifically, I am not into a lot of, like, how do I put this? I don't like a lot of the sort of, like, there are some, how, like, a song is made specifically only for, like, a movie or a TV show or a soundtrack, kind of like a theme song? Yeah. You know how, like, theme songs can be way too peppy and way too, sort of either aggressive on one end or way too, like, happy, happy, poppy fun, yeah, 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 yeah. Happy, happy, super fun, yeah, 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 yeah. You, like, kind of 80s vibe. Yeah. That stuff just kind of, like, I don't like it. Because a theme song, a good theme song, should invoke a sense of curiosity, adventure, fun, emotion, something that entices the person to watch it. And when I hear this, like, super poppy sort of like, oh my god, it's time to save the day. Yeah, 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 we're gonna have fun. Oh my god, look at us flying around, hooray! Like, makes me just want to vomit. I mean, okay, you don't like the cutesy crap is what it is. I don't like the cutesy crap. I don't know. I mean, we're talking music genres, so that we don't like. So soundtracks and theme songs obviously count. No, you're right. They do. They do. I feel if we're talking theme songs, then at that point, I guess the type of theme songs that I'm not into is more like, I hate what and a lot of TV shows have started doing this. These sort of, like, anti-theme songs where it's kind of like, hello, I'm Bill. Hello, I'm Steve. And we are roommates with a family. We go to a job. We go spend time with people. We go to see a movie. We go grocery shopping. Hip hooray. Like, these very monotone, sort of deadpan, like, people. Yeah, like, look, I understand that peppy and cutesy is not your thing, but it needs to have at least something to, like, invoke that sense of ooh and ah and wonder for me. Does that make sense? I mean, not that it can. It certainly can. That's not the issue. It's just more, if you're gonna do that, like, have something that I guess fits the theme of a show. Does that make sense? No, that makes absolute perfect sense. So I'm the type of person to like do that. So yeah. Speaking of which, I forgot to do something real quick. Are you an idiot? I am an idiot. Well, semi-idiot. Semi-idiot. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Are you downloading it? Yeah. Sorry, we're going off topic for a sec. I'm downloading a video game that my friends want me to play and check out and see how it is and yada yada yada. Which if I have time tonight, I'm gonna play it and check it out on stream. What game? Well, I'm not gonna tell people. I just want them to figure it out. Wow, I know. I'm awful. You're not awful for teasing people. I'm awful. You stop that. Wait, is your console on rest mode? I thought it was. Let me go check. Sorry, give us just a sec, folks. Yeah, terribly sorry. I just... Yeah, I see the yellow light on. It should be on rest mode, so it should be downloading. And if it's not, then I'm just gonna cry. Well, don't cry. I'm gonna cry. Don't cry. I'm not gonna cry. But yeah, Iron's like, you should play First Descendant with us. Plays First Descendant. Oh, is that the game? Yeah, no, they want me to check out First Descendant, so I might. I guess spoilers, but if I've got time tonight, I might stream like a minor reaction while we're in bed and check it out and play with friends, see how it is. What's that game about? I think it's supposed to be like a Diet Destiny, but we're getting off track. Oh yeah. Music genres. But no, I get that. I guess a theme song to me needs to sort of invoke this sort of like, you know, hey, we want you to watch the show, we want you to watch the movie or the miniseries that we're doing, but it needs to fit the tone of what the show's about. Yeah, and that's my issue is a lot of music genres that I don't listen to just don't fit the tone that they're trying to do, especially with the topics and conversations. And that's what upsets me is because, I wish they did. So like, well, what's another one that you don't like? Okay, this is gonna sound really weird. Okay? Just hear me out. I'm listening. But, yeah. I feel like me personally, I feel like I am not a fan of when a lot of these indie underground artists that I'll listen to that are like pop or punk or thrash or metal or, heavy metal or stuff like that. Like, a lot of the time when they do these sort of sponsored songs for like corporations and stuff, or like they quote unquote sell out, I feel like once they start getting way too popular that they lose kind of the edge that made them a good band. I mean, yeah, it's weirdly enough, I have, and this is going to sound stupid, but I understand this because I have sort of a love-hate relationship with like Christian rock specifically because of this. Really? Yes. Because here's my problem. And this is going to be I guess, a bonus hot take, if you will. But again, this is Rage Week, so I don't give a flying shit donkey ass fuck what people think. Wow. Just swearing up a sailor, mister. Yeah. Some Christian rock actually sounds good. Like, there are Christian rock bands and Christian rock, like, punk bands and, like, thrashy Christian rock that actually sounds really good. Not all Christian rock is gonna be like, we love Jesus, and Jesus is cool, and Jesus is great, and, like, Jesus had a barbecue sandwich with me one time, but it was kind of awkward because he brought over potato salad, even though we had potato salad, and just didn't eat any. Trailing off, yeah. But, like, there's some that, like, don't necessarily talk about God or Jesus or, like, religion. They just sort of talk about, like, you know, sort of the grooves of life, if that makes any sense. I kind of get that. They invoke this sort of, like, positivity, but in a way that's very, like, you know, rock punk thrashy. But still gives, like, people hope and something to believe in. So it's less about just God and Jesus, and more it's about the spiritual connection that you have within, so to speak. Right. I think, kind of going off, like, jumping off that a little bit, I think that's why I could never get into, like, it took me a while, but that's kind of the reason why I could never get into, like, nature sounding stuff and, like, you know, these very sort of, like, you know, 80s, early, like, late 70s, early 80s, kind of, like, you know, trance sort of songs. Well, trance is its own genre. I know that, but, like, certain trance music always felt it was too, like, I don't want to say distorted, because that's not the right word. It's very, like, it's very groovy. It's very, like, wavy. It's very, like, motion, like, in motion a lot. It's like a wave, like an ocean. Yeah. And, like, I guess something about that always made it, like, feel a little, like nerve-wracking for me. I've gotten better. I've gotten better about it, and since then I have listened to, like, some trance music and, like, nature sound stuff that actually sounds good and has calmed down my anxiety and stuff for a while. And, you know, I can fully admit, as a, you know, alien hybrid creature, there are some musics I can't. Some musics, yes, keep going. There are some shut up. There are some genres that took a while for me to get into, but once it finally clicked, I was happy that I got into it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like, not everyone gets into meditation sounds, or, like, not everyone gets into, like, you know, these sort of, like, breathing exercises that, like, say Headspace or Calm, or a lot of these companies do, because that's still also a type of audio. That's a type of music. It's just more, like, instructional music. Speaking of which, you know what always is cheesy? And I've got, like, an actual, like, Earth human question for you. Yeah, what's up? What is it with all of those, like, workout videos and VHSs from, like, the 90s and 80s that were, like, you know, super cheesy, and they had all these like instructional videos about like, you know, I don't know, how to wash dishes, how to eat carrots, how to have a diet, how to go swimming. Oh, with kind of like the sort of like, and then like the triangles and the circles floating away and the squiggles, and they're like, "Hi, I'm Billabufugglebogum, and I'm here to teach," points at camera, "you," with index finger, "how to lose weight in 5 easy steps." Yeah, like these sort of infomercial bullshits. I like they a lot of that music is very corny and cheesy on purpose, in kind of the same way how like a lot of kids soundtracks are meant to be corny and cheesy and goofy, and like, "Huh, we're gonna talk about cars and superheroes and farts and happy toys and buy our product," you know, like it's meant to be that way. I guess I just always find it goofy because it's like, kids are not stupid. No, they're not. They're definitely not stupid, and kids are a lot smarter than they let on. I just feel like a lot of maybe adults and guardians and stuff are scared because they don't want a lot of their kids to be exposed to certain things on TV or online at such an early age, and they want them to still retain some of that innocence that they themselves never got to retain. Huh. How profound of you to say. Eh. Hey, look, sometimes I can be, you know, serious and profound. I know, but still. Yeah. But I guess going back to sort of the main theme, it's, I would guess the last music genre that I could never quite get into was, I could never get into like, and I'm not saying all of it's bad, by the way, for the people listening at home. I'm just saying I am a very chaotic, feral, sort of high energized person. So I like a lot of stuff that's like thrashy, punk rock, metal, hard rock, you know, like wild, kooky, energetic, but not overstimulating. Classical and opera music, I don't think I could ever get much into. Ah, see, I love classical and opera. Really? Uh huh. Because, so, classical music and specifically opera music are the perfect sort of like sedative for my ADHD, because they're very like, it's the exact opposite of chaos. It's very like thematic, theatrical, very like grand. It always feels like I'm going on a big epic adventure and a journey with all these characters that I'm interested in. See, but I just have no patience is the problem. And like, unless I'm watching like a play, then that's like entertaining enough that I'm not going to be invested in the music. No, and like I understand that, but like, I'm just saying, as someone who's been to a lot of like plays and operas and stuff like that with a lot of friends and family, I really do enjoy those sort of like grand scale like musics. Okay, grand scale like theatrics. That makes sense. What about you? Let's see. Rap, country, certain things with theme songs. I could never really get into screamo. Really, I cannot get into screamo. 100%. It's not my thing. I like metal. And I like my hard rock and my heavy rock, but I cannot get into screamo. Why? I actually like screamo, especially because some of it's very brutal and violent and chaotic and just, you know. But see, that part right there. What the? Yeah. I don't. This is going to sound super uneducated. I apologize. But I don't want to listen to some motherfucker scream into the microphone nonstop for 7 minutes straight with one note and that's it. That to me is not music. Not at all. I do not count that as music in my brain. If I want to listen to someone screaming, I could go onto YouTube or Twitch and listen to some guy cussing and screaming at Call of Duty or Fortnite or something stupid about how they fucked up a pancake recipe or something for the same amount of time and get more value out of it. Wow. Again, Rage Week. I don't give a fuck about people's feelings this week. Fair enough. I guess why I like Screamo is because you're getting all that raw anger and aggression and violence and that sort of like pent up energy out of you, you know? Right, but I could still get that same aesthetic, but with metal. Like good metal. There are good metal bands that I like. There are good hard rock bands that I like. Even punk rock. More punk rock than ever, thanks to you. Which is funny because I never liked synthwave until you started getting me into it. Really? Mm-hmm. I never liked a lot of like synthwave and these sort of like cosmic aura type musics because I didn't like the eeriness. I didn't like acknowledging, you know, the unknown in a way that I can't control. I just, something about facing mortality is something that's always made me uncomfortable. I'd rather choose to ignore it and just live life like each day by day rather than acknowledge the grand scheme of things. Yeah. And I only ever started actually acknowledging the grand scheme of things because of you and my friends and coworkers and because of all the interactions I've had with helping kids and helping grown adults reach their potential with their NO and, you know, realizing that after chasing down a medical company who's hell-bent on flattening all of reality and every universe for so long, you are afraid that by facing the darkness and the unknown and the uncertainties of life in music genres, that you yourself are acknowledging that the wrinkles in your brain sometimes the world is not as unique as you think it is. And that to me just sort of rests on the kind of a moral thing. Which is why like certain genres, like again, you know, like orchestral, synthwave, theatrics, these sort of heavy like scores in movies and stuff. They always get me so emotional because it forces me to acknowledge these things. Well, and that's the kind of the reason why I like, you know, a lot of these things is because it induces and entices you to feel a certain way that you're not used to feeling. I'm all about acknowledging my emotions, you know, and doing so openly. But most human beings, and especially most American cultures, are not open to that idea, even in the year 2020, you know, 20 fucking 4. Well, and meanwhile, I've just I've been immortal for so long, and I've lived for so long, for so many ages, that I guess the idea of things being slow and being as flat as it is scares me. Which is why I thrive off of the weirdness and chaos. No, and that makes perfect sense. So. But yeah. This was fun. Yeah, no. This was nice getting this off our chest, wasn't it? Yeah. This was healthy. Like, there's other music genres I could probably think of that I'm definitely not into, and so could you, but like, that at least lists off some examples, right? Yeah, no, totally. That absolutely lists off some examples, 100%. You know, it's one of those things that, you don't necessarily really think about, but like, you don't necessarily, bring up either. So, I do want to bring up one more genre though, real quick. Yeah, what's up? Pop music. Some of it's okay, some of it's good, but some of it is just way too, like, recycled and generic sounding. Yes. Oh, yeah, no, I can agree with that 100%. Some pop music is fine, and I do like it in doses, but especially like summertime music, but some pop music is also very like, oh my god, we're gonna go to the store and we're gonna buy a brand new purse, and then we're gonna have a good time at the mall, and la 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 la, sing the song. Like, vomit. It's all brain rot. It's all brain. Is all music just brain rot? I all music is just brain rot. Everything is brain rot. We live in a brain rot society. Ugh. I hate that. What? Just me saying society? Society. Stop that. Shane. Miss Hadako. Miss Hadako Horhara. We live in a crumbling society. Stop it. You stop that. Fine, I'll stop. So, I guess if I could think of one more genre that I'm not into, if I really, really, really had to think about it, like, God, I would say, I don't know, because there's just, there's so much that, you would think that I would like, but there's some that I can't get into. You know what I mean? Nah, I get it. I get it. So, and it's all just sort of based on what it is that you like the most, Yeah. And I guess it's more or less kind of like, what is it that I myself would be interested in? I guess I'm not really into K-pop, but that's not necessarily a genre that I hate. It's just more a genre that I'm like, yeah, it's there. I've listened to some of it. It's just not my thing. No, I get that. I like some K-pop, but I, I don't listen to it as often as I would think. Okay, I did think of one. I did think of one last one I'm not as big into. Okay? Acoustic stuff. Really? Like, I like a lot of acoustic actually, but there's some acoustic stuff that just, again, I'm not used to, like, feeling raw emotion. And so I don't like things that purposely make me sad. See, but I like acoustic because it's soft and it's emotional and it's like the right amount of soft and it's cozy, but you're also vulnerable, and I like that. That's like you and blues music. I like blues music because it's very soulful. In the same way that I like jazz. I love jazz. Okay, I'll admit I do like some jazz. There you go. So, I'm sure we could think of more stuff in the future that we're not into, but again, the problem is we like so many genres that it's hard to come up with stuff that we don't like. And yet, it's easier to like talk about stuff that we actually do like. And I think that's the moral of today's, what do you want to call this, a podcast? I guess at this point, yeah, is it's more or less, it's really hard to pick out things we don't like for personal reasons, but it's so much easier to focus on the things that we actually do enjoy. Yeah. And I think that in itself is something to be proud of. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, off topic, did you start downloading? Yes, he did. It just finished downloading. Yeah, I was going to say Iron. It just finished downloading. So, I'm going to boot it up here in a little bit. So, yeah. Yeah, so it just finished downloading. I will boot it up in a couple minutes, and I've got the time, and I'm off work tomorrow, so I guess I could do a small bonus stream kind of checking out the game. You might as well. Yeah, might as well. So, anyhow, more Rage Week stuff coming tomorrow. So, we got plenty more things we're going to be angrily talking about and complaining about and whining about and bitching about. All week long? All week long. So you're really doing this? What, Rage Week? Yeah. Yeah. Because it's healthier for me to acknowledge the things that upset me in a creative way versus bottling it up and letting it fester. I'm sorry, but I think American culture specifically and the way they bottle up their emotions is absolutely, like, stupid. And you're sure that's not going to bite you back in the ass in any way, shape, or form? I mean, if it does, then I'll deal with that in the future. Okay, fair enough. Do you want to do the outro? Oh, yeah. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to Rage Week! So, we'll be back with more stuff tomorrow. Yeah, more stuff tomorrow. So, don't go too far. So, also, are you gonna play that game on Twitch? I mean, yeah, I guess to anybody who's watching on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, where I'm gonna check out First Descendant here in a couple minutes after I get cozy and set up, and I'm gonna stream it. So, yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, because it's got like 31 seconds left to download. Oh, really? Yeah, it's saying 31 seconds left. Oh, okay. So, bye everyone. Bye.